like, share, and subscribe.
If you were an animal, what would you be?
Oh my God. Okay, so I, for whatever reason, have such a fascination with giraffes. I adore them. I love them so much. So I would have to choose giraffe just because I love them so much. But I always said my spirit animal was definitely a corgi because I'm only 5'2", so I'm very short. So I see their little bodies struggle to do a lot of things. And I laugh that they're definitely my spirit animal. So somewhere between a giraffe and a corgi.
Like from one extreme to the
Yeah,
other.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
love it. What does a perfect weekend look like for you?
Well, I live in Michigan and I'm on the water here. So a perfect weekend for me is definitely just enjoying the water. I live on Lake St. Clair with my family and our kids. My kids are 4 and 2, but they love to swim. We have them in this program called Infant Swimming Resource, which is all about survival in the water. So my 4-year-old's actually a very strong swimmer. She likes to swim underwater for an extended period of time. So we have a bay at the end of our canal that you can just ink your boat in, and it's like 3 to 4 feet of water. So it's perfect for like a really nice summer day. And that would probably be my ideal weekend is just going on the boat with my family.
What is the best place you've ever visited?
Okay. Well, I'm going to make this a two-part answer. So, my favorite place in the States is Charleston. I love Charleston. It's my definitely the best city I've ever been to in the United States. I just love just like the southern feel of it, and I love history. And obviously, they've got a lot of history in Charleston. And it's kind of the best of both worlds. I mean, there's beaches there, so you get that feel, but there's also a really cool downtown area. So that would definitely be my favorite city. But I've also had the pleasure of traveling outside of the States a lot. And oh man, I really liked visiting London. London was cool. And I really liked, there was this little city in the mountains of Poland called Zakopane. So I would, between London and Zakopane, Poland,
If you could time travel, where would you go?
I might want to go into the future just to see what it's like, because we have this vision in our minds what the future could look like. But I always wonder if that's actually going to be what it ends up as. Are we going to be driving in the sky? Are we going to have, hovercraft cars and it's
Right.
going to look like Back to the Future movies did? Like how, because it's funny because those were supposed to be set, in this time period, but we don't look like that. I think it would be fun to go maybe like 100 years into the future just to see come in not just technology wise, but even like medical, like some of the things that they maybe find cures for, and hopefully I'd love to see where we're at as a civilization in 100 years.
What is one of your favorite childhood memories?
That's a tough one. Honestly, no, it's really not that tough, and it ties into books a lot. My mom is an avid reader, and growing up she was very adamant that we went to the library. So I would always go to the library with my mom, and she always laughs that library was actually one of my first words. And but I was so young that I would go to the library, and she would say I would just start saying library, library. Not supposed to yell in a library, but as a 1 or 2 year old, I would. So yeah, going to the library with my mom is probably one of my best memories growing up. She really got me into books. She got me into a love of reading, which got me into a love of writing. And that's kind of my life, the last couple of years has kind of come really full circle.
Who is the wisest person you know?
I'm lucky enough to have so much family and friends who they all, I guess, bring different knowledge to the table, if that makes sense. Like there's certain family members I know will help guide me on different paths. So I guess everyone I know is the wisest person I know because as a collective, they give me so much. Yeah, like I have a friend who always like is like the righteous friend. Like, it's like, it's good versus bad. Like this is what you do in life. And I have other friends that are health conscious. And yeah, so I think it's a whole collective I am lucky enough to have.
Who is an author you would love to meet?
I would have loved to have met Shel Silverstein because his books growing up were just, I love them. Like how he writes and how poetic his stories are. And they had such a deeper meaning, that like should have gone over children's heads, but it just didn't. And it was just, I just loved his way of writing and his messages. So I think it's probably one of my favorite authors. I had the pleasure of when my books first got into bookstores, I went to go see it in a bookstore, and it was kind of like a amazing moment. My book was next to one of his where the sidewalk ends. It
Oh
was
my
right
gosh.
next to his book, and it was just, it meant so much to me. I love that.
What is one of the best presents you've ever received?
One of the best presents I've ever received. For my 30th birthday, my husband surprised me with a necklace that had mine and my daughter's birthstone in it. We're both June babies. So that was probably one of the sweetest
Yeah.
gifts I've ever gotten. I love it. I wear it all the time. Not wearing it right now, or else I show it to you guys, but that's probably my favorite gift.
If you could pick a superpower, what would you choose?
I think my superpower would probably be the power to heal.
Mm.
That's probably what I would pick is the power to heal loved ones.
Do you have any hidden talents?
I don't know if it's a talent or just a miracle, but I'm a very clumsy person and I've never broken a bone in my body. And I don't know how. Um, yeah, I've had lots of accidents. I've actually been hit by a car
Oh my God.
and have never broken a bone in my body. So my husband always jokes that I'm like the movie Unbreakable, where the
Yeah.
guy is the sole survivor of a train accident. There's not a mark on him. He says he's gonna figure it out one day, but he says that's me.
Yeah.
So it's not a hidden talent because I think it might have just been a miracle up to this point.
Make Mementos is all about connecting families through the power of storytelling. And what is a favorite memory you have of spending time with your one of your grandparents? And then a favorite memory of you spending time with your kids?
So my favorite memory of my grandparents, well, unfortunately, I wasn't around to know my dad's parents, but my mom's parents lived in San Diego. That's where my mother's from. And my grandma was the zookeeper for the pandas at the San Diego Zoo. So she would always send me, back then it was snail mail, would send me photos that way, couldn't do it on the phone, of her with the pandas. And yeah, she would just fill me in. It was like a behind the scenes of, I remember, I don't remember the panda's name, but it was a big deal when I was in elementary school, but the brand new baby panda at the San Diego Zoo. And she was one of the ones that delivered it. It was a really big deal for me. I think I was in fifth grade. So yeah, that's probably my favorite moment of my grandparents is my grandma. We were like kind of like pen pals back in the day. Um,
Oh,
yeah, she would send me messages of and pictures of her with the pandas, which was awesome. My favorite memory of me and my kids, I do this thing my husband and I do when we put our kids down for bed is we have them tell us a story. It's kind of what we started doing instead of, us reading to them, or although we do read to them, but we like when my daughter tells us a story. It's just really sparked her creativity. And all of a sudden she's coming up with, plots and characters and settings. And it's been amazing to see her blossom, just like her English and just her storytelling abilities. So yeah, really being able to engage with her in that way is probably one of my favorite things about bedtime. I've spoken a lot about how my kids inspire all the stories that I've written in different ways. It's something they've said has sparked my creativity, or a story they've told has, unraveled into something else. And